host, Molly Southgate, and with me is
Martha Southgate.
And
Rob Southgate.
Okay. Here we go.
Yeah,
My favorite episode. Can't wait to talk about it.
Awesome episode.
This
so,
is cool.
Okay, I want to start it this way. Molly, what was your favorite thing in this episode?
I loved when he was eating the hand.
From the Addams Family?
Oh, right, when it was a tiny TARDIS and the train was going to hit him?
Yeah.
And then the hand came out and he scooted across the track? That was awesome.
On Twitter, people were saying he's a hermit crab.
He's a hermit crab!
Yes.
Yeah.
And he is a bit of a crab, so...
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Very appropriate.
I loved that. I loved when she was carrying him in her purse and she couldn't hear him, and so he reached his hand out and he started directing her and waving his hand around out of the TARDIS.
I loved it when she picked him up, when they just figured out the TARDIS was that small, and she picked him up and he put his hand out and she's like, please don't do that. That's just wrong.
Yeah, right.
Although she needed him to later.
Right.
It ended up being the thing that saved him.
Well, it's funny how the thing shrunk only to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Because it could have gone smaller, I would assume.
Yeah, that would have been
it got
scary.
just small enough that he could kind of peek out, but
Yeah.
it went from big enough for him to get out to that size in a pretty
to
short amount
just
of
being
time.
able to get his hand out.
Yeah,
And he was really, can you imagine how scary that would be to be trapped in there?
yeah,
Yeah. Well,
And relying on Clara?
right.
He's not used to having to rely on anybody, and he has
Except
to. Yeah,
He
just
also
himself.
knew that the life support was going to run out.
Yes.
If that thing closed up, it was running out of power is what the problem was, and that would have been it.
That would have been the shortest Doctor run of ever.
Right.
I
Nine
love.
and done.
Okay, a couple of funny things in the beginning. Some lines I love.
but that might cause him to regenerate.
Yeah, but that's why
But
I
if
said
he
that it would be the
regenerates
quickest
inside-
one ever.
If he regenerates inside the TARDIS and there's no life support, he regenerates and dies. And regenerates and dies. And regenerates and
Oh,
dies.
that would be sad.
Oh,
So when she said, "Don't give me an ish," and he says, "But these readings are very ishy."
I love that.
Or when Clara was complaining about something being annoying, and he said, "This is annoying," and he pointed.
right at her.
Yeah, and then he says, "Could you just let me enjoy this moment of not knowing something? It happens so rarely."
Oh, I love those quotes.
Yeah, I loved that in this one, he wasn't just crabby Doctor, because that's something that people have been saying. He seems just crabby this season. I think it's been great.
He was great this episode.
But this one, he was trying to make jokes.
Yes. He was succeeding.
Yeah,
I
he was
thought
actually
quite
funny with his jokes.
Yeah.
Best one was when she called it the two-dimensioner.
Yes.
And he said, no,
It's the TARDIS.
Look at it. She's like, the two-dis.
Two dies. Two dies.
He's
What
like,
is it?
it's the two-dis.
2D is? It's the TARDIS. Like the TARDIS. Like the TARDIS.
Yeah, that was
two.
awesome.
And
so funny.
He has to give Clara the sonic screwdriver out the doors of the
that was a funny visual too. When
tiny TARDIS.
He handed the psychic paper out to her, and then he handed the sonic screwdriver, and he's like, "You might need these." You could tell she was like, "What? I get to play Doctor."
Oh yeah, and then she says,
can I say this? She goes out and she's like, okay. And then she runs into this Rigsy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. We can't get this name right.
Okay.
Rigsy. And he's like, oh, hi. And she's like, hi, I'm the Doctor.
Yeah,
and he says,
call me Clara.
Wait, no. He says, don't you dare.
Yeah.
And
he
the
goes,
doctor
Doctor
says
of what?
that.
And the Doctor goes, Doctor of Lies.
Yeah.
Doctor of Lies.
You guys totally ruined it.
It's so funny.
I wrote it down word for word.
Okay, you say
it
it word for word.
Oh,
you say it word for word, and we'll see. People can write in and vote on how correct I am.
Because she says, ooh, I get to be the Doctor. And he says, oh, no, you're not. And then, so then when the guy walks up and he says, who are you? And she says, I'm the Doctor. And he says, oh, don't you dare. And then he says, what are you the Doctor of? And he says, of lies.
Of lies. How is that different than
you
what I
said? You're the Doctor of lies.
Oh, sorry. So you got
it. His line was delivered so much better.
Welcome to the very specific
the literal podcast. But
even very specific wasn't correct.
But
holy cow.
His was just delivered.
You know what, Doctor? I understand. If I was in the tiny TARDIS, I might leave the door shut.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you something I really enjoyed.
What?
Was, as long as we're talking about the tiny TARDIS, which that whole thing was just great.
Uh-huh.
I love when it first occurred to him that something was going on, it looked like Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
When they go into the room and it gets smaller.
Because
like,
part of the room is really big and then it goes really
little. I thought
little.
for sure they were going to make a reference to the room, or we're getting bigger. No, the room is getting smaller.
Yes.
I thought for sure they were going to make a reference.
They didn't.
They didn't, but it was totally Willy Wonka, which was awesome. And
but how was he the same height? How wasn't he shrinking?
Well, because it's a multi-dimensional.
The TARDIS is always bigger on the inside.
I know, but it's not.
He said it was only affecting the outside dimensions of the TARDIS.
Right.
Oh.
If you paid attention to the episode.
Right.
Yeah.
And
See, now I have to be crabby like the Doctor.
The bad guys.
He wasn't crabby in this one.
Were the ones that were affecting it. They were sucking the dimensional something off of the TARDIS, and it was that's why it was shrinking like that, and it was taking all the energy out of the TARDIS.
Careful with that.
Yes. So there was a lot that happened with the bad guys in this.
You never saw what they looked like.
Only when they were. Well, you saw them on the floor. When it was just, it looked like liquid almost.
It looked like the movie Slither, which is like worms under the surface. Kind of looked like that.
Flat.
They were flat.
Hence the name, Flatline.
Mm-hmm.
And they were.
I don't get the line part.
Well, Flatline is what they say when somebody's dead.
Okay.
So
now do you get
the and you can call them bad guys because for part of this. They did this was really cool too, how they were making you question whether they were bad guys or not. And the Doctor does that a lot. Like, the one with the, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the one, but there's one where they think that this, creature is a beast and it's causing trouble for them. And the Doctor figures out that really all it wanted to be was free the whole time.
That sounds like the Van Gogh episode.
Right.
Well,
or
yeah,
the
that
dragon.
one. I was talking about the one where they're on the back of the space slug, I think it is, and they're torturing
the space
thing.
whale.
Yeah, the space whale, and they're torturing it,
Yeah.
and then as soon as he takes the torture devices off, it turns out that the whale is helping them.
Mm-hmm.
Stop torturing this. And I thought it was going to be similar to that they were going to be, that like, and that's what he was saying, like, we need to communicate with them because it might just be they're friendly.
Yes.
That they're just doing experiments
and
they're just trying to
figure out what we are and all that.
Right.
But no.
But no.
Then he figures out they're in the walls. But the funniest, one of my favorite.
He handed her a big mallet.
A sledgehammer.
Oh, yeah, the sledgehammer was funny.
It came out of her bag like Mary Poppins.
Yes.
Like a demented Mary Poppins. But he's got his hand. He's all pulling it out of the TARDIS door.
He's handing her head out of the TARDIS.
So funny.
In her bag and there's a big sledgehammer.
There was another TARDIS thing that happened at the beginning. She said something about needing space or whatever, and he goes, we literally have acres in here.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
You know, they always talk about how big it is in there, and like we've seen in other episodes, like, oh, there's a swimming pool and a library, and you're like, how could there be all this? And we've seen him run through the TARDIS, but now he's saying it's so
passed the swimming pool library.
Yes,
they did.
Yes,
a library and then a swimming pool.
Oh, not today though.
Was running through it.
Yeah, that was on the
Matt Smith.
Yes, I think it was the Impossible Girl one that happened in. But this time he says it is acres. Mm-hmm. So I mean, there is so many possibilities in that TARDIS.
They could be a football field.
There could be anything in there.
Yes.
There could be I started thinking cafe.
They could do a whole season of just like if he has a warehouse, like a Warehouse 13 type thing going on, where these are things I've collected that I haven't really. You know, I was saving for later to explore, and then all of a sudden they could have an episode here and there exploring an item that is buried in the TARDIS. That'd be cool.
And
or if they just showed you a few rooms.
Yes.
I think they're due for a TARDIS episode.
Oh, I think that'd be awesome.
Now, I hope the people that are doing it are listening to this, so that they're going to do our suggestions.
Somewhere somebody says, Molly Southgate wants a TARDIS episode. We need to do that.
Yeah.
They won't stumble over it the way I did, but they'll say that. So
when they had they were in the tunnel.
Yes.
And they had to the things were making everything 2-dimensional, so they couldn't get outdoors.
So let's talk about that really quick. No, what the things are. That they are 2D, that they're flat. So go ahead.
So
well, we didn't say that.
So he gives Clara says, we can't get out, and he says, here, I've worked on this thing, give me 5 minutes, and then you can point the sonic screwdriver at it,
yes,
and it'll make it 3D again. And she goes, oh, a deflattener? And that's when he said, it's not a deflattener, it's the TUDIS.
The deflatner, that's what it was. So
the deflatner was the TUDIS, she wasn't calling the creatures.
Yeah, the 2-dimensioners are what she called the creatures.
Yeah.
And then that giant hand.
Although didn't she...
That was unbelievable when that giant hand grabbed Riggsy.
Right, and that's when she was...
Not
it wasn't
Riggsy.
Riggsy, it was one of the guys.
Yeah.
Just a guy.
And okay, so when that happened, that's when they first went 3D, and the doctor's like, oh, they're evolving into 3D. Mm-hmm. But actually, remember when he said, I call you boneless?
Yes.
I believe, and I didn't catch it until the second viewing, that Clara refers to them as boneless earlier in the episode. Mm. So he corrects her and says, nope, we need a better name than 2-dimensioners.
But then he took that one.
But he used the one she gave him earlier where she said boneless. I don't remember exactly how she used it in context, but when she said it, I was like, wait a minute, that's what he called her at the end of the episode. And then again, that's what he says at the end of the episode. So it was pretty cool.
And they couldn't get out of the tunnel because these creatures were they were blocking the end of the tunnel. Yeah. So they hijacked the train, so to speak.
Right.
But they asked the guy, the train conductor, can we ram the blockage? With the train, and he looks at her and he says, is it official? Because I've always wanted to ram something.
Right. Thank goodness he hasn't.
I loved that. But yeah, that is not a comforting thought that your train conductor wishes he could ram the train into something.
So these creatures, these boneless, when we first encounter them, we see a guy on the phone right in the beginning, and he's saying they're here, they've been here with us the whole time, I don't know how we haven't known this, and he gets sucked into the wall, and it looks like just a smear on the wall, and then the camera moves and you can see it's his face screaming. Then the next time we see these, we see the tunnel, and all these people look like they're facing backwards.
Oh, it's a mural.
Yeah, it's a mural, and we find out that people have been disappearing.
Well, and we saw the central nervous system.
Well, okay. Then we see in that room, this is one of the rooms where somebody disappeared, and they're looking around in there, a flat where one of them disappeared, and they have a police officer with them. She goes in the other room, and she gets attacked. And it looks like water pulling her down, almost like a quicksand. It reminded me, you mentioned before Patient Zero, it reminded me of that kind of a thing where there's the crack in the wall and you're going between dimensions. Not that we saw that, but that was the thing I kind of thought of was Patient Zero and that whole, like there's a barrier. Mm-hmm. And
not Patient Zero, it was Prisoner Zero.
Prisoner Zero, yeah.
Patient Zero sounds odd.
Yeah, that's something else.
That's something bad.
Yes. But then we see...
It's more like the whole Ebola thing.
After she was pulled into the ground, that's when they found the central nervous system on the wall. Mm-hmm. And it looked kind of like trees, like a painting with trees and that, but then when it pulled back, you're like, oh,
you could clearly see the legs and the
but the way they shot it looked like it was kind of like trees. It was kind of weird. The other thing they saw was this bumpy stuff on the wall, and the doctor's, when he figured it out, he goes, that wasn't bumpy stuff. That
wasn't like bricks or anything.
It was skin.
It was a microscopic segment of skin.
Yeah. That's just gross.
Gross.
That's wrong in a lot of ways.
Yet cool at the same time.
Yet very awesome.
Lots of things in this is wrong.
So yeah, these 2-dimensional creatures. Now this was the other thing that was great. We have a new creature.
Yes.
We have a very different new creature.
2.
In this episode, we had 1.
2. 1 in this episode. Another one in another episode.
Oh, in Listen, we have a new creature.
Uh-huh.
If that indeed is a creature, which I believe it is. But yeah, we have these guys. But what was great was when the doctor realized what it was, and he's like, this is proof. He was excited. This is proof that there's a 2-dimensional dimension. Mm-hmm. We could never go there. What did he say, Martha? I'm sure you wrote this line down. about how we could never go there
unless we flatten ourselves.
Unless we went
on a diet.
Right, that was it.
Because he's saying diet. Yeah, he's saying diets are gonna make you all like paper.
Yeah,
that wouldn't work.
So he was
like
excited that they were there.
Yeah.
And that's when he was kind of making it seem like, hey, this makes sense. It showed that their view of us was just footprints and things. Mm-hmm. He's like, that's what that was that you were looking at. That mural was how they view us. Uh-huh. And then he said,
I didn't like how it was all graffiti.
Well, it wasn't graffiti.
No, lots of the episode was about, like, she was with that guy that did graffiti.
Wait, that's why he was there. He was there to clean it up. He had public service for that.
He was in trouble.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He was being punished for doing graffiti, but he was actually an artist.
Right. But the other guys
was doing it outside the law.
Yeah, they thought that all those flat people were just graffiti.
Yeah, they thought that somebody came in and painted a mural in honor of the
dead,
people
that were dying.
But it wasn't. It was those were the dead.
Those were the people.
And they were scrubbing it off.
Yeah, they were trying to paint over it, and that's when the doctor realized, no, Clara, you need to get them out of there. They can't interact with this stuff, because what happened when they realized about touching the walls? Like the couch got sucked into the wall, and it looked like everything was melting into paint.
Yeah.
I just loved these aliens, and I love that they've evolved and became those weird 3D.
That was cool. It looked like Walking
creatures.
Dead.
It did. It looked like Walking Dead mixed with like a paint thing.
Yeah.
Kind of reminded me, even though it was like
glitchy. It was glitchy, like
it reminded me of like Ray Harryhausen's animation.
Yeah.
Which is the really old like King Kong stuff, which kind of moved like that. But this was like a computerized, melty version. It was really
it was very cool. So a couple of things that were interesting that the doctor had on him.
You noticed a couple of things.
The steampunk glasses,
that
first of all.
Cool.
So many people, I have a feeling, are going to be cosplaying
those
his
glasses,
outfit with the steampunk
glasses.
I
wanted those glasses. Watching it, I'm like,
very cool.
Get that and a sonic screwdriver.
Oh, I didn't see the steampunk glasses.
Yeah, and it had various lenses. That was really, really neat.
I want steampunk glasses.
Yeah, who doesn't?
His, he had a wedding ring on.
Yeah,
he had a ring on his left hand, and I hadn't noticed in other episodes that he was wearing it.
He's married to River, so.
Well, you know what? I want to go
Matt Smith
back.
Wear a wedding ring?
No, he didn't. And I want to go back and look at the earlier episodes to see if it's there, because it was pretty prominent. After you pointed it out,
they made a point of showing it.
He had his hand up to his face, and when he was pointing at him, it was so clearly there.
Uh-huh.
And I've never noticed the wedding ring before. Now, that doesn't mean it wasn't there. It could have been there all season.
Right.
I mean, this is us. It could have been there for 50 years. But
I think it was there all season.
We're going to look. But anyway, he had a wedding ring on. The other thing that they never addressed, but was very obvious, was his hair was changing lengths.
Now, this, I think, was a mistake.
But he had longer hair in the beginning,
like regular, and then it got really short.
It looked really nice.
Short.
It looked really nice. But then when he came back out of the TARDIS at the end, it was all bushy, and I was like, "What the heck? How did his hair regrow?"
Well, I wonder if that was just a mistake. I'm sure it was.
How would it be a mistake if he had two different types of hair?
Well,
I guess if they filmed out of order.
Yeah, if they filmed all the other stuff
and
earlier.
Gave him a haircut.
And then maybe they went back and filmed another piece of it. Like, we need to shoot this little bit in the TARDIS.
And he had
a haircut.
Probably.
So it's likely a mistake.
Funny.
But maybe they'll address something like that in the future. It would be kind of funny if they said, like, if Clara were to say to him, like, have you ever noticed your hair changes? Like, well, that's because blank.
Yes.
Probably if, like, in different episodes, all of a sudden it'll get blue.
Blue.
It was just very obvious. And I thought, this is really strange that his hair is changing length.
Yeah, see, I didn't notice the hair, but the wedding ring was super obvious. Mm-hmm. But I wonder about that. Maybe it's an Apple ring, you know? Now that they've got all those iPhone things.
What's an Apple ring?
Well, for the iPhone, they have a ring that's going to come out that can control things. I don't know what it does, but the doctor would. He might have it.
All right, I want to talk about Danny.
Ring.
Maybe it's a sonic ring.
Let's talk about Danny.
Danny.
Okay.
So Danny, in this episode, he calls her at first, and he says, "I'm out on our bench," and
yes,
come and meet me and let's have lunch. It's nice out here and whatever. And she says, oh, I'm a little busy right now. And
that's funny because they're hanging from this.
Oh, no, that was the second call. The first call, he was just sitting out on the bench, and she's like, yeah, I can't come.
No, it wasn't. There wasn't a first call. She was in the room with him when she was talking to him, and he was hanging out on the bench. And then as she was talking to him, it escalated, and she got up on the chandelier thing, or on that chair.
On the chair.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And he was on the phone with her through that whole thing.
And she's like, yeah, a little busy right now.
And he's like, are you in trouble? She's like, no, I'm not.
But everything's crashing around, right. and then she knocks them out through the window.
Yes.
But
he's like, what?
The doctor said you lied. And
I love that the doctor called her out.
No. And he goes, no, you lied to me.
Yeah.
Because you told me that Danny was okay about you being on the TARDIS. And she said, well, he would be, but I haven't told him yet.
Once again, I think this is very strange because I really don't think Danny cares.
Yeah.
I think he cares, but not about that.
But not in that way. Mm-hmm. He was mad at her initially for not telling him the truth about her going with the doctor. Mm-hmm. Now she's doing it again.
Right.
And he said, I'm not upset about that. I'm upset about
you not
sharing it with me.
Yeah.
Well, here she's doing it again.
Yeah, before he's like, you go there, and then you come to me, and then you tell me about it.
Right. And she also used him as an excuse in that last episode, trying to make it seem like Danny wanted her to stop, but I never saw that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we watched it more than once.
Her like, are you changing your mind? Is everything okay?
Right. Yeah, I never got the impression he wants her to stop.
Right.
He was just sitting there watching TV.
And I don't really understand why she's lying. Now,
well, I think that it may be that she's wanting that to be the excuse if their relationship falls apart. There are some people who are commitment phobes or who try to sabotage things, and they need there to be another reason. This way she can blame the doctor.
I also thought that she could use it as a way of getting away from the doctor by saying, this is what it is, and you've caused a rift, when in fact it's been this. Now, this actually, now that you've said it this way, it makes the ending look differently to me. Mm-hmm. So let's cut to the ending here.
Okay.
So at the end, he says she wants him to say that she was a good doctor. Mm-hmm. And just before that, when he thought he was dying, he said, Clara, you have the exact lines? Do. Let's hear it.
Because of course I do.
Because you're my mother.
He says he thought he was dying, and he said, you were good, and you made an awful fine doctor.
Right.
Okay? So he used the word good.
Yes.
So then later on, she says, admitted, I did well. And he was going, being evasive.
It, yeah.
And then she said, why can't you say I did good? He had already said it, and he used that word. He said to her, you were an exceptional Dr. Clara. Goodness had nothing to do with it.
Okay. So
you and I differ on what this means.
Well, I actually now have a thought about it. Okay, I don't know if I said this before, but with the discussion we just had, I think that him saying goodness has nothing to do with it has to do with her lying. Mm-hmm. And he's saying, you're not being good. Because this whole season has been about him asking, am I a good man? He said it in the first episode. It's come up repeatedly. This whole thing about soldiers and that.
I think it was the second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but it was early.
Yeah.
This whole thing with the soldier stuff, it's always coming back to being good. Mm-hmm. And when he called her good when he was alone, that was genuine, but he wouldn't say it to her because that's a sticking point for him. Mm-hmm. She
and guess
is
what?
lying.
Danny's calling, and she's like, "No, tell me." And he's like, "Go talk to PE."
Yeah.
Soldier boy.
Soldier boy.
Right, and she thought he was lying in other episodes, which is why he was questioning this whole "Am I good?"
Right.
So that's really what I think this is. Now, you said you have a different thought on it?
No, before you had said to me, before we were recording, you had said that you thought it meant that, but I was thinking it meant that he just couldn't ever give her that he always holds back
Okay.
the piece that she wants the most.
Right. Right. So that's what he was
telling
doing
her
there.
that like she looks good.
He always holds back.
Right.
And he'll say, "Oh, whatever. Yeah, you look good for a monkey." You know, like
Right,
not that he ever said that, but
You
you
look
know,
good for a monkey.
but
What episode did you
he
watch?
says stuff like that to her all the time. Like
Right.
he won't give her what it is that she needs the most.
Right.
And so she kept saying, "Why won't you say I
For a monkey.
I look good?"
That sounds like a good.
Or why didn't you say I was good? I did good. And he was like, "You did exceptional, but not good." Like
Yeah.
he won't give her what it is that she's asking for.
So last night when this whole thing went down, and it was Dr. Oswald and everything, and people were tweeting it all over the place, and we were talking about it, I tweeted out that I want to see a Dr. Clara series.
Spin-off.
Yeah. And, you know, watching it this second time, I thought, no.
fanfic
Yeah,
about a
fanfic.
tweet.
It's not exactly what I want.
Mm-hmm.
But I could definitely see, just like they did with Sarah. Was it Sarah? Who's the one that they did? The Sarah Connor. No, Sarah Connor Chronicles. His companion that had the spin-off show. There was a spin-off series, and I am just drawing a blank.
Oh yeah, you
But
are.
it was
you know?
the companion.
No.
It was Sarah, I think, was his companion. We saw her. She's the one with K9, and she was back in the other episode.
Oh yeah, probably her.
It was the episode where he was in the school, and I can't think of her name. But they did a spin-off series with her, and I started thinking, Clara, of all characters, of all companions,
She should have one.
she could have one, and
She's the impossible girl.
she could have one where she has even a sonic screwdriver and the psychic paper. Like, he gives her those things, but she's not a doctor, and she's working. Oh, maybe that's how they do, because they've said that Torchwood. They've talked about Torchwood, okay, the series Torchwood, and they've said that it's not dead. It's just like on hiatus.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe that's how you bring Torchwood back, is Clara, when she leaves the doctor, joins Torchwood, and she's got some of these things. So she's working with Captain Jack, she's with Torchwood. That would be awesome.
Mm.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, so we can't end this without talking about Missy.
No,
What?
She
we
was
can't.
saying, "Oh yes, my pretty Clara."
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And she said, "I knew I chose well," or something, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
she said that.
I have,
Chosen well.
she said, "My Clara, I have chosen well." Okay, and she was looking at an iPad. But what do you
Yeah,
think?
she was.
What do you think
What does
that
that
means?
mean?
No.
Okay, I've been
Maybe
reading a
she
lot.
chose it to go to the promised land.
People are thinking that Missy is the TARDIS. You told me that one.
What?
And that
On Twitter, people
that
were
could be.
tweeting that theory.
Yeah.
that could be. Which also,
How would that?
we've been interpreting that she's a bad guy.
Yeah.
But what
she
What
is.
if she's a
what
good
if she's
guy?
not? What if she's the TARDIS and she's watching over the Doctor and she's protecting him, and she chose Clara to be the impossible girl to help the Doctor?
Mm-hmm.
What if that's what it is?
But why is she so crazy? Why is she in the promised land? So many questions.
There's so many
Why
questions.
is she taking people hostage?
Well,
if
the ones
she's
that are
good?
dying, though. She's intervening before they move on. Why?
They
And
just
she's
go
not doing bad things to them.
No,
there.
we don't see anything. We're making assumptions. So
she might be doing bad things.
She might
She
be
might.
doing good things.
we don't know.
She might be
we
feeding
don't.
them and giving them a nice bed to
No.
sleep in.
Yeah.
All
All
right,
right.
let's wrap it up.
Let's
for
wrap it
next
up.
week. Can't wait.
Thank you for
can't
listening.
Next week is Little Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad
Kind
Wolf.
That's what it looked like.
It's kind of
Maybe
like
it's an
it.
Ever After Once Upon a Time mashup with Doctor
There
Who.
you go.
Uh-huh.
Thanks for listening, everybody. You can find past episodes of this and all of our podcasts at our website, which is
www.southgatemediagroup.com.
Our new revamped website.
Yes,
Go
our
check
newly
it out.
revamped. It's
and
got-
we have forums now.
We have forums that are
Yes.
going up, and you can access those by going to the website. Just click on there's a button that says try our free forums, and it's got a link to our provider page on iTunes, and it's got our Twitter feed. It's got all sorts of stuff. It's really fun. Please get in the conversation with us. Find us on Facebook and Tumblr and everywhere. And all those links, including our YouTube channel, are all at our website.
Mhm.
Okay. I say we end this thing. Oh, follow us on Twitter at Coo Coo For Who.
And SMG Pots, at SMG Pots.
There you go.
Until next week,
Alonzi! If you would like to donate to help pay for this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts, simply go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, and click on the donate button. It can be as little as $1 or, well, as much as you want. Help keep this fun going by supporting this and our other shows. Thanks again for listening, everyone. You're the best fans in the world.